our temperature will rise just after we ovulate because of the progesterone that's being produced in our body. Even if you've got a period that only happens twice a year or once a year, if you know when ovulation is happening, you can predict your period better. A lot of people actually ask if you take your temperature through your bum. Bright Girls, it's Demi from Bright Girl Health here. Okay, so let's get into the fun stuff. Let's get into how on earth we actually track our temperature. Now I've got two thermometers here. I've got a $10 one from the chemist. I've got a $200 one from Kindara. This is what I currently use. And then there is also another option I'm going to talk about, which is the Daisy, which is more of an expensive option, but I want to talk about why you might choose it. So let's start from the start. How do you take your temperature? When you're looking for a thermometer, so this is what I first used when I first started tracking my temperature. You want to look for something that tracks to 2 decimal places. So it might say 36.25. Now I'm from Australia. That's Australian rules because that's in degrees Celsius. You can look up the rules for degrees Fahrenheit. I don't know them. When this turns on, it tells me 36.66. So it measures to 2 decimal places. It's important that you record to 2 decimal places because when you have a temperature shift, it's not actually a very big shift. It might be a shift of 0.3 degrees. Now, that doesn't seem like a lot, but because the body temperature remains relatively stable throughout the month, even a temperature increase of 0.3 degrees is actually significant. So we want to be measuring to 2 decimal places. So how do you take your temperature? Now, taking your basal body temperature, it's called your basal body temperature, and that just means that you are taking your lowest temperature first thing in the morning. So before you've got up to go to the toilet, brush your teeth, wash your face, while you are still in bed, and I'll do it when my eyes aren't even open. I'll just roll over, grab my thermometer from my bedside table. It stays there all the time, and just pop it into my mouth. A lot of people actually ask if you take your temperature through your bum. You don't take your temperature through your butt. You put it in your mouth. So the first thing you do in the morning before anything else is grab your thermometer. Sometimes my husband reminds me to do it because I forget, and you want to try and do it every single day and not miss a day, is pop it in your mouth. And you want to put it underneath your tongue, kind of in one side. There are heat pockets. If you Google heat pockets in the mouth or where to put a thermometer in the mouth, you'll find where to put it. And then you just chill, and you might close your eyes, take a little rest, and it will beep when it's ready and when it's got the temperature for you. Ooh, it beeped at me. So the beeping lets you know that it's ready, and you can take it out of your mouth and look up what your temperature is. For a thermometer like this, which is $10 or $20 from the chemist, it usually takes a little bit longer to give you your temperature reading. So you might have to leave it in there for about a minute until it beeps to tell you that it's done. With an option like the Kindara Wink, this gives me my temperature in 10 to 20 seconds, so it's a lot faster. And this one vibrates instead of beeping to tell you that it's ready. So it's not gonna annoy partners if you've got a partner in the bed with you, or it's just not gonna be annoying for you if you just don't like the beeps. So this one vibrates and this one beeps. And another big thing about how to take your temperature is that it's really important that you take it around a similar time each day. So you want to have a routine that, say, at 7 o'clock every day, you take your temperature. So you might set a temperature taking alarm on your phone, and that helps it to just be more consistent and more accurate. Now, the other thing about this is that replacing the battery can be a little bit tricky. So I unscrewed this and found that my battery was a really, really small one, and then I went to the supermarket and looked for the battery replacement and I couldn't find the right size. So I just thought, I'm just gonna buy another one. It was cheap anyway. If it's only $10, the battery is probably around that same price anyway. So that's the downside of the battery with this one. With the Kindara Wink, you can actually charge it just like you would your phone. So there's a little charging port there, and you can plug a cord in there and then just plug it into your phone charger, and this will charge. I actually get email updates when this is running low on battery. So the other day I got an email saying your Kindara Wink is low on battery, and I was like, oh geez, thanks for letting me know. It's really sleek and nice, and this, yeah, just clicks on and clicks off. Mine doesn't click anymore because I dropped it. Demi. I did want to talk about the accuracy of using something like this as opposed to spending a little bit more money on this. Now, what I noticed with this is that it did the trick. I bought this when I was first starting to track my cycle, and I would 100% recommend tracking your cycle for at least 3 cycles, or tracking your temperature for at least 3 cycles before using it, say, to achieve or avoid pregnancy. You really need to get the hang of it and get the swing of things. Everybody's body is different. Not everybody's going to have a really clear temperature increase. So the graph I showed you is it's a bit more, it's not common for every single girl to have a perfect graph like that. Sometimes the temperature increase might be a little bit more difficult to recognize, so you really do want to practice doing it. So I bought this to practice tracking my cycle because it was cheap, and I wanted to make sure that this is actually what I wanted to do before investing the money in a more expensive thermometer. So in terms of accuracy, what I noticed with this is that sometimes I would put it in, get my temperature reading, maybe it was 36.13, and then just out of curiosity, I would put it in again and then get another temperature reading like a minute later, and it might be 36.23. Now, if you track your cycle, you know that a difference of 0.1 is actually pretty significant. And then I'd take it again, and then it would say 36.16. So all within the same ballpark, but slightly different. And so that made me wonder, is this accurate? So when I got this, I actually did the same thing. I took my temperature, got the reading, and then like a minute later did the temperature again. And I actually found that this also wasn't ever the exact same thing each time. So 2 temperatures taken a minute apart could be slightly different, is what I noticed with both this one and this one. Okay, so I've been saying that this thermometer is about $10 to $20 at the chemist. Now, let's talk about this one. This is my Kindara Wink. It is beautiful and black. It's like a matte black. Like I said, it clicks open and close. And when it clicks open, it actually winks at you, hence the name Kindara Wink. Now, this thermometer was about $200, so it really is an investment. And I bought it because I love tracking my cycle. I track my cycle for a few different reasons, and having something that was reliable and that I really liked and that is long wearing and long lasting, and because I could recharge the battery just like you charge your phone, I thought that this was worth the investment. I got similar results from temperature readings with this, but I really like the convenience of this, being able to charge it, as well as this Bluetooth syncs with my phone. Pop this off, take your temperature. It will take your temperature in 20 seconds rather than a minute, and then it sends the temperature to your phone directly. So you can roll back over and go to sleep.
I'm just a big toasty cinnamon bun. I never want to leave this bed.
And you don't have to pick up your phone and like put in your temperature before you forget it. With using this one, you have to take your temperature and then either remember your temperature or you have to get your phone and put the temperature in straight away. With the Kindara Wink, there's no chance of you forgetting it. It Bluetooths it straight to your phone. You got to make sure you have your Bluetooth on though. And that's really convenient because then I don't have to worry about forgetting my temperature. Now, truck. Shh. Now, I wanted to tell you about one more option. It is a more expensive option, but I know friends who use this. I haven't personally used it yet, but I thought I'd let you guys know. So it is the Daisy. Or there's the Lady Comp, which is a larger, less compact version of that that's slightly different. Now, the Daisy is a thermometer, so you use it exactly the same way as you use the other two that I showed you. However, it's got an algorithm that it uses to help you predict when you're ovulating. Now, I hate apps that will try to predict when you're ovulating for you. If you've got an app that tries to predict when you're ovulating, I wouldn't necessarily trust that. Your app doesn't know you personally. It doesn't know if you've got a history. Shush. The app doesn't know if you've got a history of erratic cycles, if you've been stressed that month. Like the month of my wedding, my period came 2 weeks late, when usually my period is pretty on time. My app didn't know I was getting married and I was stressed. So I was ovulating later in that month that I was stressed. And my app didn't know that. Your app doesn't know you, so it can't predict fully accurately when you're going to ovulate. So I wouldn't trust the apps that predict when you're going to ovulate. However, with the Daisy uses an algorithm to help predict when ovulation is happening, and it's based off millions of cycles, and then it learns your cycle and uses that to predict ovulation. Now, to be honest, I would still rather track ovulation myself and determine myself when I'm ovulating. But for some people, when they kind of try to determine when they ovulate, having the Daisy's algorithm also confirm that when they've determined they've ovulated is actually correct, that could be really helpful and give a lot of women peace of mind, especially if they're using it for pregnancy achievement or to avoid pregnancy. Like I said, I don't think I will ever rely on something to tell me that I'm ovulating. I will still want to do it myself because I enjoy doing that. So what the Daisy will do will give you a red flashing light if it's an ovulation day, which means that would be the day where you are most likely to get pregnant. It will give you a green light if it's a day where you're not fertile. So ovulation's taken place, an egg has already came and gone. The egg dies after 12 to 24 hours. After it dies, it can't be fertilized for pregnancy to take place. So the chance for pregnancy that month has gone and passed. So a green light will show you that you are able to have sexual intercourse and it not result in a pregnancy. And then the Daisy gives a yellow light when it's still learning your cycle and that algorithm is still trying to figure out you and your body.
So Daisy have actually given me a code to share with you guys, which is just BRIGHTGIRL. If you use that, you can get 5% off. Now, I think right now when I'm posting this, they're having a 15% off sale, so definitely go with the 15%. But if there's no sale on, you can use the code BRIGHTGIRL for 5% off.
It's like any other thermometer if you want to use it like any other thermometer, but it does then have the algorithm that predicts ovulation.
The website indicates that it has a Pearl Index rating of 0.7. So the Pearl Index rating shows that if 100 women use it as a contraceptive method in 1 year, if one person gets pregnant, then it has a Pearl Index rating of 1. So the Pearl Index rating of 0.7 is lower than 1, meaning less than one person out of 100 got pregnant in the year using this as a contraceptive method.
Now that is actually lower than a lot. Shush! That is actually lower than a lot of other forms of contraception. Now, anything is only as effective as it says it is if you use it perfectly. Especially if you are tracking in order to achieve or avoid pregnancy, you have to know how to do it properly. So that might look like being trained by a professional. You might go to your doctor and talk to them and ask them to explain it to you. You might also be able to find workshops in an area near you. Maybe someone's teaching this. So you might look up fertility awareness method classes in your area. But the way that I learned about this and the way that I learned to do it is through reading. I love to read, I love to research, and so I just read lots and lots and lots and taught myself to do it. However, I did read lots. So if you're going to rely on this, you need to really be trained and to know how to do it. Now, the book that I read is Taking Charge of Your Fertility. I will link it down below for anyone who wants to get it. It is incredible. It's life-changing. Like when I read this book, I I couldn't put it down because on every page I was learning something new about my body that I didn't know before. And I felt so robbed that I didn't know it before, but once I learned it, it felt so good. I felt so empowered. This has literally been a life-changing book. I highly recommend it to every woman. Like, I wish you had to read this in school. It's very thick, however, you don't need to read the whole thing to be able to understand how to track your temperature. I think it's really only like the first little bit. And honestly, it's the best read you will ever read. I promise. So I'll link that below if anyone wanted to get it. All right, well, I think that just about wraps up this video. I had so much fun making it and I can't wait to make some more for you girls. I'd love to make the tracking your cycle using cervical fluid or discharge video. So if we get this to 100 thumbs up, I'll make that video. And I'm also really excited to do a period hacks video and even talk some more about the menstrual cup, how to use it, how to put it in, problems to look out for, and answer some of your frequently asked questions. Thank you so much for watching, and if you came over from the Bright Girl Health Instagram, hi, and thank you so much. I'd love if you girls helped to support me and subscribed, and we can all learn how to have better periods together. See you next time. Bye. Class dismissed. 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 I'm making a YouTube video. No, let's not do that. Okay.